Instead of focusing on winning arguments, we're teaching the basic fundamentals of sales and marketing and how we can use them to win in the world of politics, teaching you how to meet people where they're at on the issues they care about. Welcome to The Brian Nichols Show. Well, hey there, folks. Brian Nichols here on The Brian Nichols Show, and thank you for joining us on, of course, another fun-filled episode. I am, as always, your humble host, joining you from our lovely Cardio Miracle Studios here in Eastern Indiana. The Brian Nichols Show is powered by our friends over at AMP America. Get the news you need to know without the corporate media bias. Head to ampamerica.com. And by the way, I must say there are some pretty darn good opinion pieces, news articles, and more being written over there, namely because I write a few of them. So go ahead one more time, check them out, ampamerica.com. Also, the Brian Nichols Show is powered, and yours truly powered, by Cardio Miracle. They've been our studio sponsor for about a year now, and I got to tell you, folks, the Cardio Miracle difference, 1,000% real, from lowering my blood pressure, having better night's sleep, plus just, a bunch of other slew of amazing benefits of having a healthier ticker. So if you want to join the hundreds of folks here in the Brian Nichols Show audience and the tens of thousands of other folks who are experiencing the Cardio Miracle difference for themselves, head down to the show notes, or if you're watching the video version of the show, click the link in the description. It's going to bring you right over to our friends at Cardio Miracle, where you will get 15% off your order if you use code TBNS at checkout, or simply follow the links, and discount should be applied there at checkout. Folks, I've been really saying from the very beginning of bringing Cardio Miracle here on board, this is a product that I truly believe in. I wouldn't be promoting it here in the show if I didn't. So you have my guarantee, but also you have Cardio Miracle's guarantee. There's a 100% money back guarantee. So you have nothing to lose. So one more time, cardiomiracle.com, the best heart health supplement in the world. All right, folks, let's move on to the topic of conversation today, and that is the Great Awakening, the Great Reset. There's all this weird stuff happening in the world, and I couldn't think of anybody better to join me than our good friend Clay Clark and his good buddy Aaron Antis. Welcome back, gents. How you been?
Greetings. Oh, doing good. Thanks for having us on. Thank you.
Great to have you guys on. I'm looking forward to digging into all fun things that are happening in the world right now of Great Awakenings, Great Resets. But first, Clay, Aaron, you guys go ahead and just reintroduce yourselves to the audience who maybe haven't heard you guys on the show yet.
Yeah, that's Aaron Antis. He's sort of a big deal. People know him. He travels often to Alaska and Arkansas. He runs a prestigious home building growth institute called the Builders Training Academy. His wife loves him. His dogs put up with him. His children like him. Most of his friends speak highly of him. That's Aaron Antis. He's sort of a big deal. Back to you.
That's a good intro. Clay, who are you? Who are you, Clay?
I am one of the most pale people you'll ever meet. I never go outside. I spend all of my disposable income losing money in an attempt to save America. And because I'm obsessed with generating hit pieces about myself, I continue to do the Reawaken America tour. Now we're on event 24. It is my fantastic money-losing scheme called the Reawaken America tour. Heads to Detroit, Michigan.
The Reawaken America tour. We're going to talk about that in a second. But I guess you didn't go outside for the eclipse then, Clay, if you're that pale.
It's interesting. This is a true story. The eclipse, there was so much hyperbole, excitement. People were going, dude, they're turning on CERN on April 8th, baby. They're turning on, NASA's going to shoot the rockets up there. The Operation Serpent Deity, the Mission Serpent Deity. It's a real thing. Mission Serpent Deity, snake God. They're going to shoot that up at the same time. They got the eclipse happening here. It's the same day, April 8th, that Aleister Crowley claims that he first connected to Satan. There was so much excitement and energy. People in my office were on the verge of saying, maybe we should off ourselves. And I'm going, guys, calm down. Just put on your blue blockers, put on your cheap sunglasses you bought at the grocery store. Get some cheap glasses and move outside and behold the non-rapture. Get out there. I'm so tired of you guys talking about. Get out there one by one, person by. Get out there and observe the non-rapture. And if you get raptured and I don't, you can be up in heaven going, ha ha. But if you don't get raptured, get back to work. So that's what we did.
My favorite part about it was on April 9th when I saw somebody posted a picture of the glasses, that everybody was buying and said, eclipse glasses for sale, only used once.
Right.
My favorite was the video of the kid. It's a news shot. They're just panning over a crowd, and there's a telescope pointing up at the sun, and the kid just walks over, and he's like, trying to do a little sneak peek, and you can see the beam from the sun shining through. It hits him in the face, and it seems like it hurt a little bit. So yeah, it sounds like we all had a little bit of fun during the eclipse. Gentlemen, let's maybe dig into some maybe not so fun things, but heck, you guys are at least on our side and helping making it fun. And that is talking about the chaos, the craziness that's going on in the world. We have the Great Reset. Klaus Schwab, he's I think currently in a hospital bed somewhere. Hopefully he can stay there. But there's a lot of other things going around in the world right now. Clay, Aaron, where do you guys want to start?
Yeah, by the way, I did pray sincerely that Klaus Schwab would die a violent death. So I want everybody to know that I did pray that. When I heard he was sick, I immediately said, "Dear Lord, please allow his death to be painful and slow. Please." I did do that. And I did. And for anybody out there that hasn't read the Bible in a while, Elisha was a bald head guy. Mm-hmm. And he was struggling with kids mocking him for being bald. Mm-hmm. And God, people should look this up. God actually released bears to deal with the people that were mocking him. Do you know about this story?
I do. It's been a little while since I've looked at that.
Okay, I'm going to read it to you. This is second. This is, you haven't read this, Brian?
It's not ringing the echoes.
That's the power of the prayer. Let me just, okay, people.
That's in the belfry, man. Come on.
A lot of times people at Acts chapter 12 this weekend, Pastor Jackson was teaching, and Peter summoned the angels by praying, okay? Yep. And the angels summoned Peter. They helped him escape, okay? So there's power of prayer. I'm just going to tell you a little story that motivates me about the power of prayer. This is 2 Kings chapter 2.
This is going down a dark hole.
No, it's not. This is a white light. Okay, so this is 2 Kings chapter 2, verse 23 through 24. It reads, and I'll send this to you, Brian, so your listeners can know I'm not making this up. I'm sending it to you right now. It says here, and he went up, that's Elisha, and he went up from thence unto Bethel. And as he was going up by the way, there came forth little children out of the city, and they mocked him and said unto him, "Go up, thou bald head. Go up, thou bald head." And he's thinking to himself, "Oh no, I don't like it when you make fun of me." So then he says he turned back. No, this is real. He turned back and he looked on them and cursed them in the name of the Lord. And there came 2 she-bears out of the woods, and they tear 42 children of them. So the point is, don't mess with bald-headed people. All right?
For the follically challenged out there, I think I'm right there with you.
People better not be talking smack. Next thing you know, bears are going to be coming out of the woods and chasing your listeners down.
Oh, Clay.
Clay.
It is in the Bible,
so
but
Klaus
not
Schwab,
necessarily the direction.
Klaus Schwab.
What's your prayer life, my friend?
That's where I was going with Klaus Schwab. So anyway, so Klaus Schwab, hopefully my prayers reach you soon. Okay, so let's get into it. So there's really 5 things I want to cover on today's show. 5. And I'll tee up the fact and you guys can react. So here we go. If you read the Bible, Revelation chapter 16, verse 12 through 14. And by the way, if you haven't read the Bible, I think you should read the Bible before the rapture. So Revelation chapter 16, verse 12 says, "And the 6th angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, that the water thereof was dried up, and it is, and that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon," China, "out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. And for they are the spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth into the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle that great day of God Almighty." Well, okay, so the Bible tells us in Revelation chapter 16, verse 12 through 14, I'm paraphrasing, that when the Euphrates River dries up, and it is, the false prophet will show up, and he is, Yuval Noah Harari. He's praised by Obama, Zuckerberg, Gates, MIT, Stanford, Harvard. He's the world's #1 best-selling author right now, Yuval Noah Harari. He's calling for rewriting the Bible using AI. He refers to humans as hackable animals. He wants to put surveillance under the skin. This is Yuval Noah Harari. They call him the prophet. The beast technology will show up. Again, Revelation chapter 16, verse 12 through 14 says, when the Euphrates River dries up, the false prophet will show up, and he is. Euphrates River is drying up, and it is. The beast technology will show up. For anybody out there that doesn't know, Yuval Noah Harari refers to the technology as the beast. Yeah. And he's openly saying that he has developed the AI technology. And the leading technologists that work at CERN and who work with AI, they refer to it as the beast. So it says when the Euphrates River dries up, the false prophet will show up. The beast technology will show up. China and Russia will team up, and they are. And then all the nations will gather for a battle, and then things will blow up. That's how I look at it. Aaron, what say you?
Yeah, I would agree with you. If you remember, the river Euphrates is mentioned in Genesis. There's 4 rivers that are mentioned, that it's been there for all of time. And now for the first time, it's actually dried up. If you look up pictures online, you can go Google it, find images of it. I mean, it looks like a dry, cracked, barren landscape right now. And it was a river that was a massive flowing river for literally eons. So it is a sign, one of the signs of the second coming of Christ, and the Battle of Armageddon being something that's coming. So there are many signs. I mean, they're everywhere you look. You get into Matthew chapter 24 and start reading through that thing. The disciples themselves came to Jesus and said, "Hey, what will be the sign of the times of the end, and when you're coming, when you're going to return?" Matthew chapter 24, Jesus himself in red letters, if you read it in
red
the
letters,
Bible,
baby,
he will describe what's going to be happening at that time, and we can see those signs all around us. But the Euphrates River is a very key one, because in the Battle of Armageddon, the kings of the East are going to come across on dry ground, and there would have been no way for that to happen until the Euphrates River dried up.
Brian, I've got a theme song for today's show. I just want to cue this up here. I saw the sign by face. What? What? How is this real? You remember this song, Aaron?
Oh, yeah.
How was this song a top 40 hit? No one liked this song, but somehow it was a top 40 song. Folks, people saw the sign.
I saw the sign.
Remember that? People.
Good tune.
Brian, do you remember this? This song?
I do.
It was a big deal to me. I mean, these signs couldn't be more obvious.
They're all around us right now.
And it could be. So, Brian, fact number 1, Revelation chapter 16, verse 12 through 14. Fact number 1.
So before we go to the other facts, I do want to raise an objection. Believe it or not, as a sales guy, we get objections a lot. And one of the objections, there he is. One of the objections I have heard, not so much in terms of anything specific you guys have brought up in the past, but the Nostradamus claim. Well, guys, if you just write down everything that could possibly happen in any particular way, well, just line up the coincidences, and we can make enough of these coincidences make sense, at least to make a prediction come true. What's the difference between what you're articulating as what we've seen in the Bible versus someone like Nostradamus in the past?
Sure.
First off, to add extra credibility to what I'm going to say, I don't know if the listeners know, I enjoy urinating outside on my property. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because I think a lot of times people look to people that they think are flawless and perfect, and these people are just geniuses, But at the end of the day, Aaron, you know this, I bought enough land so that I could pee outside without anybody having to think about it, right? That was the kind of life goal that I had.
I didn't know that was the reason.
But Aaron, I've told you this before. I want enough land where I can go streaking and no one cares, right?
This is true.
Okay, and I'm just saying, I'm not a perfect person. I obviously have been making fun of myself on today's show, but I'm just having fun with it. People understand the Bible was written not for geniuses to interpret it, who have all these seminary backgrounds. So I watched a really sad debate over the weekend. These are like 6 theologians. There were 6 of them. And they were on a big time show, Brian, and they were talking about, you were wrong about this because of that. And then the other guy says, no, the intertestamental because of this. And one's like, no, the minor prophets. And he's like, no, that's a major prophet. And it's like, no, the intertestamental. No. You are looking at the post-apocalyptic. They're just all this jargon. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, everyone's like, you're arguing about something that no one in America even knows what it is. And they were getting mad about it. Mm-hmm. So all I'm saying is when you read the book of Revelation, chapter 16, verse 12 through 14, the Bible tells us openly that when the Euphrates River dries up, the kings of the East, China and Russia, will team up. So that cannot be refuted, that the Euphrates River is drying up. I don't think anyone can refute that.
Can't refute that.
And we can't refute that China and Russia are teaming up.
That is happening right now. You go to, BRICS News.
So,
you'll find all that information.
You got that.
Yeah.
And then you can't really refute that every country seems to be gathering right now for a battle. I mean, so you say, no, they're not gathering for battle. They're just hanging out, just blowing each other up while they're hanging out. So, I mean, if you look in Ezekiel chapter 38, I'm gonna get this out. I'm gonna read it to everybody. You go to timetofreeamerica.com/Alex. I've got 119 biblical prophetic events. I don't do well with like date setting people that are setting dates, people that claim to have heard from some holy voice while they were on top of a mountain. I mean, I'm not attacking prophets, but you know what I'm saying? There are people that are like, I went to Applebee's on a Tuesday, which reminds me of two things today. And you're like, stop it, Carl. Okay. So what I'm going to say, though, is the Bible tells us in the book of Ezekiel, and the Bible wasn't written to scare us. It was written to prepare us. This is Ezekiel chapter 38. It prophesied that biblical Persia, which is Iran, people didn't know, biblical Persia, which is Iran, biblical Ethiopia, which is Ethiopia, biblical Libya, and biblical Gomer, which is Turkey. These nations would all team up against Israel at the same time. And so right now, regardless of what you think and what I think about who started it and who didn't and all this, Iran is attacking Israel. Someone says, no, they're not. You're just making it up. You're just reaching for conclusions because you're the guy who's pale, right? Okay. And then Ethiopia, Ethiopia, they just joined BRICS. No, it didn't join BRICS. You're not even a pastor. Turkey announced they support Palestine. No, because you suck. Patriot, P-A-Y. Nah, that's what people do. They do all the time. That's what they do. So I'm just saying I'm just laying it out for you factually. Now, someone says the beast in Yuval. Where do you get that? Well, I think we all know this. But Yuval Noah Harari is openly saying that he created the AI technology. He is now taking ownership of it. So let me hit play here. Here you go.
So we need to be kind of very how to work with the beast and not try to work against it.
Okay. So, and you're like, well, okay. And then Yuval, he keeps talking about rebuilding the third temple, which is hilarious because the world's most outspoken, quote unquote, atheist who claims to have graduated from Jesus University. I don't know if people know that. If you look up Yuval Noah Harari, he claims to have gone to school. Go to Google, type in Yuval Noah Harari. He claims to have gone to school at Jesus College.
Yep, he does.
So the world's most famous atheist, he's now calling to rebuild the temple. Listen to this.
So you have these dreams about a world without hierarchy, without injustice, without poverty, and which means, in effect, a world with completely different laws than the laws we recognize, that we are familiar with. And the idea is that there would be this magical moment, the revolution, of the crusade, or will rebuild the temple, or will create a new perfect utopian society, and it will be a moment of historical redemption.
Okay, thank you. And again, Yuval, the one thing about Yuval, and people say, Clay, he's not supernatural, calm down. Aaron, I'll tell you something I know about Yuval that makes him supernatural.
Okay.
You want to know? You guys want to know? He taught his ass to talk. It's supernatural. Look at it. It talks. This guy's unbelievable. Have you ever heard somebody talking to their ass more than that guy ever? No. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's like, so you said it the first time you heard him. It's like hearing Satan speak. It's like the guy next to you in the stall and you're hearing like unspeakable, ungodly body sounds. And you're like, dude,
you're going to get through this, buddy.
And you're like, dude, you got to courtesy flush that thing. and he just keeps going, and somehow you're hearing reverberating from the porcelain palace this guy talking about bodies and brains and minds. I mean, it's crazy.
It is crazy.
God. Going back, and by the way, thank you for that, Clay. Let's go back towards the last four. I think we had four more that we wanted to go through and rip out here. Where would you want to go to start there, Clay?
Okay, so again, Revelation chapter 16, verse 12 through 14. Fact number 2, Aaron hit on it, but Mark chapter 13, don't believe me. Mark chapter 13, Luke chapter 21, and Matthew chapter 24. What? Luke chapter 21, Matthew chapter 24, and Mark chapter 13. Someone's writing that down. Matthew chapter 24. Luke chapter 21. Mark chapter 13. That's where the Bible tells you, Jesus tells you in his words, as you mentioned in red text, that this is what has to happen before Christ's return. Mm-hmm. So everyone needs to read that. And then we need to stop listening to these preachers who, by and large, don't know what they're talking about. Now, I'm not saying all, I'm just saying by and large. Let me give you an example. Last week, a wonderful friend of ours, Pastor Leon, I asked him on my show, so people can see it. I said, hey, you go to all the Republican events. I mean, there's nobody who is more engaged than Pastor Leon Benjamin. He goes to every conservative event,
Yeah.
almost every conservative conference, every church pastor's gathering.
Very involved.
And I said, brother, you've been to all of them, including the Reawaken America tour. Do you ever hear about the RNA modifying nanotechnology shots? Do you ever hear about the RNA modifying nanotechnology shots? Do you ever hear about Revelation chapter 16, verse 12 through 14, where the Euphrates River will dry up, the false prophet will show up, China and Russia will team up, these countries will gather, and then they blow up, the beast technology showing up? He says, no. So do you ever hear about election fraud, medical fraud, religious fraud, monetary fraud? No. Do you ever hear about the transhumanism agenda? No. Do you ever hear about the Klaus Schwab's vision to have the fourth industrial revolution where they're going to mix the miry clay? His vision, Klaus Schwab's vision is to merge man with machine. Okay.
It is.
And Daniel's had a vision of the fourth kingdom, which is to mix the miry clay with the iron. So Klaus Schwab says, the difference of the fourth industrial revolution is it doesn't so much change what you're doing as much as it changes you if you think the genetic entity. I said, seriously, take me out of it. You've been to all these events. How many times have you heard these subjects discussed anywhere? BRICS, the collapse of the dollar, any of it? He says, zero.
They don't talk about it.
Ever.
Ever.
And they gather around, Brian, and they cast out demons, and they run. I'm telling you, that's what they do. I'm telling you, they gather around, and they pray, and they pray, and they pray. And in fact, we have a governor. I won't mention his name because I don't want to get myself sued. Every time he starts to feel any pressure, he'll call up his pastors and go, hey, guys, I want y'all to come pray for me. In the governor's mansion, things are getting hot here, and I need y'all to come in here and just lay hands on me and rebuke it. And okay. And then they all come and pray for him, and then he does a lockdown. It's real.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, I want y'all to gather for me and pray for me. It's getting tough here. And then he does a mask mandate. I want y'all to come pray for me. We got to cast it and bind it and slap it around. And, it's like crazy, it's like whack-a-mole with the demons, and then he pushes the shots. I'm being serious. Am I being real?
That's exactly what happens.
Every time. So again, we just got to read the Bible ourselves. That's point 2 out of 5. We're going fast here, but hopefully, Brian, I just want to communicate. I encourage people to get in the Bible.
Yes.
So
yes.
Fact number 3, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. That's a lot of countries. BRICS, Brazil,
BRICS.
Russia, India, China, South Africa. BRICS. They are teaming up together to move away from the dollar and to hoard the earth's gold. They've been doing it for 17 years. Starting on January 1st of this year, they added Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Egypt, Iran, Ethiopia. And then earlier this year, Russia announced they're going to add about 25 additional countries to BRICS. BRICS is now saying they're rolling out their version of the BRICS games. Saudi Arabia has since offered to pay our U.S. college athletes, all of them, to go play over there. Have you heard about this?
No, I hadn't heard.
They're having their own BRICS games. They're paying our college athletes to leave America to go play there. Look it up. Huge amounts of money, by the way. The Saudi Arabians are debt-free. The BRICS has rolled out their own plans for their own version of the Olympics. And just today, 8 hours ago, China and Russia have announced they no longer need to use the dollar at all with buying and selling oil.
Yep.
And last week, the Middle Eastern countries primarily said they're no longer going to use the U.S. dollar at all for trading oil.
In any bilateral trade.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I want people to understand this was prophesied in the Bible, Revelation chapter 6, verse 6. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. You're so pale. I hear you pee outside. Okay. So that's Revelation chapters. I'm serious.
Hey, just jumping into that for a second here, you know, going back to Brian's question.
Yeah.
First of all, here's the thing. The Bible is either true or it's not.
Right.
It's either correct or it's not.
Yep.
And a great deal of the Bible is history,
Yep.
but a great deal of the Bible is also prophecy, because to God both are the same, because he sees the end from the beginning.
Yep.
I believe that every word in it is true,
There
and
you
it's going to come to pass
Yep.
in our lifetimes, whether we want it to or not. Everything that is supposed to happen in our lifetime will. I just think we happen to be living in the time of what is called the last age, or the church age. And, there's some really specific things in Matthew chapter 24, like Clay was saying, in Mark and in Luke, so that lay these things out. But I think one of the most interesting parts of it, and I'll just throw this out here, is the parable of the fig tree in Matthew 24, verse 32. After he gets done explaining what he's saying, he jumps into a parable of the fig tree, and he says, when its branch has already become tender and puts forth leaves, you know that summer is near. So you also, when you see all these things, know that it is near at the doors. Assuredly, I say to you, this generation will by no means pass away till all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will by no means pass away. God's words are not going to pass away. They're going to become fulfilled. If you look at that whole story of the fig tree, Jesus cursed the fig tree the day before. It dried up from its roots. The fig tree at that time of year should have had fruit on it, and it didn't have any fruit. That's why he cursed it. They walk back by the next day. It's dried up from the roots. And the fig tree in Scripture is Israel. And he curses this fig tree. He curses Israel because there's no fruit on it like it should be.
Right.
Which is why he went around after all these religious people and rebuked them. Well, now we come into the end of this. This is at the very end of him saying, here's how you'll know the end is here. When the fig tree, when Israel comes back to life, this generation won't pass away until all these things happen. Well, what year did Israel come back to life?
1948, Holmes.
1948. A generation is about 80 years.
Almost there.
Well, that would be about 2028.
Stay on
I'm
target.
not saying it's going to happen in
Almost
2028, but I'm saying this
Almost.
generation that saw it will not pass away till all these things come to pass. And I think that's a very interesting fact to look at. Go back and read the story. It's actually in Matthew 23, 20, and 24.
Brian, with the limited time we have, I want to tell people this. If they go to time2freeamerica.com/Alex, I have 119 biblical prophetic events that are taking place right now. The Bible said they would happen, and they are happening. That's time2freeamerica.com/Alex. Somebody says, give me a moment. I'm trying to find a pen. That's timetoFreeAmerica.com/Alex. Someone says, I'm trying to find a ketchup packet. Give me a ketchup packet. I'm trying to find a ketchup packet. I'm trying to take notes of the ketchup packet.
Right.
It's time to free. Yep. Someone has. That's all they have, Aaron. That's
Okay.
all they have.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Don't judge. Okay.
Okay.
I hear this guy pees outside. Okay. timetoFreeAmerica.com/Alex. That's where you go to find all the facts. And then as far as calls to action or free stuff, everybody can watch the Reawaken America Tour documentary tonight for free. It features General Flynn, Michael Lindell, Pastor Phil Hotson-Pillar. It really gives you a good understanding as to what's going on. You can watch it for free tonight at timetoFreeAmerica.com. You can download it for free right there. Also, if you want to attend our final Reawaken America Tour event, that's June 7th and 8th in Detroit, Michigan. June 7th and 8th in Detroit, Michigan. Mm-hmm. It features America's Mayor Rudy Giuliani, America's General Flynn, Darryl Strawberry, the Major League Baseball playing great. You've got, just so many people: Eric Trump, Laura Trump, Kash Patel, General Flynn. It's the final confirmed event we have. Just under 500 tickets are remaining. That's timetoFreeAmerica.com. This guy pees outside. Let me write this down. It's amazing. Okay, so it's timetoFreeAmerica.com. timetoFreeAmerica.com. I just encourage everybody out there. I think a lot of times people, they just can't receive. Obviously, I'm having some fun with it today, but people can't receive information unless it's like, I heard this from a pastor who has 13 degrees from the University of who gives a crap. And now we're to a point now where we recognize these experts don't have any idea what's going on. You know why? Because they've been reading all these good books, which have kept them from reading the great book. Known as the Bible. Yep. So I encourage everyone, read the Bible today. Go to timetoFreeAmerica.com to get the facts. And folks, I might go outside between now and then. Who knows? But if not, I'll see you in my paleness in Detroit, Michigan.
Love it. Clay Clark, Aaron Antis, thank you for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. With that being said, folks, if you enjoyed the episode, you know the drill. Go give us some love. Get a share. But with that being said, Brian Nichols signing off here on the Brian Nichols Show for Clay Clark and Aaron Antis. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Brian Nichols Show. Find more episodes at briannicholsshow.com.